In June 2016, the company acquired Anacor Pharmaceuticals for $5.2 billion, expanding its portfolio in both inflammation and immunology drugs areas. In August 2016, the company made a $40 million bid for the assets of Bind Therapeutics, which was in bankruptcy. The same month, the company acquired Bamboo Therapeutics for $645 million, expanding its gene therapy offerings. In September 2016, the company acquired cancer drug maker Medivation for $14 billion. In October 2016, the company licensed the anti-CTLA-4 monoclonal antibody, ONC-392, from OncoImmune. In November 2016, Pfizer funded a $3,435,600 study with the CDC Foundation to research, screen and treat strategies for cryptococcal disease in Botswana. In December 2016, Pfizer acquired AstraZeneca's small molecule antibiotics business for $1.575 billion. In January 2018, Pfizer announced that it would end its work on research into treatments for Alzheimer's disease and Parkinsonism, a symptom of Parkinson's disease and other conditions. The company said about 300 researchers would lose their jobs. In July 2018, the Food and Drug Administration approved enzalutamide, developed by Pfizer and Astellas Pharma for patients with castration-resistant prostate cancer. In August 2018, Pfizer signed an agreement with BioNTech to conduct joint research and development activities regarding mRNA-based influenza vaccines. In October 2018, effective January 1, 2019, Albert Bourla was promoted to Chief Executive Officer, succeeding Ian Redd, his mentor. In July 2019, the company acquired Therachon for up to $810 million, expanding its rare disease portfolio through Theracon's recombinant human fibroblast growth factor receptor 3 compound, aimed at treating conditions such as achondroplasia. Also in July, Pfizer acquired Array BioPharma for $10.6 billion, boosting its oncology pipeline. In August 2019, Pfizer merged its consumer health business with that of GlaxoSmithKline, into a joint venture owned 68% by GlaxoSmithKline and 32% by Pfizer, with plans to make it a public company. The transaction built on a 2018 transaction where GlaxoSmithKline acquired Novartis' stake in the GSK Novartis Consumer Healthcare joint business. The transaction followed negotiations with other companies including Reckitt Benckiser, Sanofi, Johnson & Johnson, and Procter & Gamble. In September 2019, Pfizer initiated a study with the CDC Foundation to investigate the tracking of healthcare-associated infections, scheduled to run through to June 2023. In December 2019, Pfizer awarded the CDC Foundation a further $1,948,482 to continue its cryptococcal disease screening and treatment research in 9 African countries. In September 2020, the company acquired a 9.9% stake in Seastone Pharmaceuticals for $200 million, HK $1.55 billion, helping to commercialize its anti-PD-L1 monoclonal antibody, CS1001. In October 2020, the company acquired Erixa Pharmaceuticals. In November 2020, using a reverse Morris Trust structure, Pfizer merged its off-patent branded and generic drug business, known as Upjohn, with Mylan to form Viatris, owned 57% by Pfizer shareholders. 2021, onwards, corporate developments and acquisitions. On January 5, 2021, Pfizer introduced a new logo. In April 2021, Pfizer acquired Amplix Pharmaceuticals and its antifungal compound Fosmanogepix, APX001. In August, the company announced it would acquire Trillium Therapeutics Inc. and its immuno-oncology portfolio for $2.3 billion, $18.50 per share. In December, Pfizer announced that it had agreed to acquire Arena Pharmaceuticals for $6.7 billion in cash. In March 2022, it was announced the acquisition of Arena Pharmaceuticals had been concluded. In April 2022, the company announced it would acquire ReViral Ltd. for up to $525 million, gaining access to experimental drugs used to combat respiratory syncytial virus infections. Pfizer completed the acquisition of ReViral in June 2022. In October 2022, the company completed the acquisition of Biohaven Pharma and its calcitonin gene-related peptide programs for $11.6 billion. In August 2022, the company announced it would buy Global Blood Therapeutics for $5.4 billion, boosting Pfizer's rare disease business and helping with its aim to add $25 billion in revenue by 2030. COVID-19. Pfizer has developed and launched several products in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, including the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine and Paxlovid. In March 2020, Pfizer joined the COVID-19 Therapeutics Accelerator funding vehicle to expedite development of treatments against COVID-19. The $125 million initiative was launched by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation in partnership with MasterCard and Wellcome Trust, with additional funding announced shortly after from Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, UK Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office and Madonna. The following month, the Foundation for the National Institutes of Health announced the Accelerating COVID-19 Therapeutic Interventions and Vaccines, active, public-private partnership to develop a coordinated research strategy for prioritizing and speeding up development of COVID-19 vaccines and pharmaceutical products. Pfizer joined the partnership as an industry leadership organization, and participated as a collaborator in active-led clinical trials. CEO Albert Bourla attended the Gavi COVAX AMC 2021 Investment Opportunity Launch event, otherwise named One World Protected, on April 15, 2021. In Canada, Pfizer endorsed the use of a vaccine passport mobile app developed by Immunize in order to record and track status of COVID-19 vaccination. COVID-19 pandemic and vaccine development. See also, Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine. Initial development and testing. As the scale of the COVID-19 pandemic became apparent, Pfizer partnered with BioNTech to study and develop COVID-19 mRNA vaccine candidates. Unlike many of its competitors, Pfizer took no initial research funds from the United States Operation Warp Speed vaccine development program, instead choosing to invest roughly $2 billion of its own funds. Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla has said that he declined money from Operation Warp Speed to avoid government intervention, stating later that when you get money from someone that always comes with strings. They want to see how we are going to progress, what type of moves you are going to do. They want reports. And also, I wanted to keep Pfizer out of politics, by the way. In May 2020, Pfizer began testing 4 different COVID-19 vaccine variations using lipid nanoparticle technology provided by Canadian biotechnology company Aquitas Therapeutics. Vaccines were injected into the first human participants in the US in early May. In July 2020, Pfizer and BioNTech announced that 2 of the partners' 4 mRNA vaccine candidates had won Fast Track designation from the FDA. The company began Phase 2/3 testing on 30,000 people in the last week of July 2020 and was slated to be paid $1.95 billion for 100 million doses of the vaccine by the U.S. government. The U.S. deal priced 2 doses at $39, and the company stated that it would not lower the rates for other countries until the outbreak is no longer a pandemic. Pfizer's CEO stated the companies in the private sector producing a vaccine should make a profit. In September 2020, Pfizer and BioNTech announced that they had completed talks with the European Commission to provide an initial 200 million vaccine doses to the EU, with the option to supply another 100 million doses at a later date.